Come on and cry me a river. Cry me a river. I cried a river over
Welcome everyone, good morning. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Let me start this week with a couple of articles from X that I like to collect in my account. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let's see what we have for today. The first one is how to upgrade your self-image. Oh, we have volume 1 and volume 2. Then we have Instagram is training you to leave people who love you. This should be interesting. Even if I don't like Instagram, I spent a lot of time there because it's my new Facebook. I don't have Facebook anymore. They blocked my account in 2020. Can you believe that? For a meme, one meme. No communication in advance, just blocked forever. Maybe it's back and I don't know. I should check. What else we have for today? We have this one that is... this is a funny one. A surprise. And then we have Nikola Tesla on how he used visualization to create his inventions from torment to success. Why I bring this up? Because visualization is a skill that is very useful and helpful in mental health, in hypnosis, because if you visualize your body healing, your body heals better than if you not visualize your body healing. I hope that makes sense. Let's start with volume 1 of how to... Oh, this is volume 2, sorry. How to upgrade your self-image. Very important. Let's see. Oh, there's a PDF. That's cool. That is cool. Let's start. You're reading this because something feels off. There's a gap between who you are and who you know you could be. There's a part of you that already knows what that better version looks like. Yeah, there's an unconscious part. Every morning they wake up optimistic. The right things are effortless. They respect themselves deeply, and that respect makes them immune to bad habits. There's a deep self-trust that knows that whatever happens, they'll figure it out. This belief eliminates fake pressure. How's the music? Too loud? Before challenges, their mind naturally replaces memories of past success. Proof that you already know how to do this. Life becomes an unfolding. Anything could happen anytime. They walk through their days in a constant state of appreciating the magic of being here. Who they are what they believe, it sits at the center of their chest. Certain in themselves, you hear it in the firmness of their tone. Everything just feels right. Zero self-assessment, zero scoreboard, zero voice asking, am I doing this correctly? Just a deep comfort that you are in an experience and allowed to live it. That sounds like a very high threshold in uncertainty tolerance. Sorry. Their certainty in who they are submits the uncertainty of life. Yes. Can you remember what that feels like? Moments where everything clicked, where you surprised yourself, where you thought, why can't I be like this all the time? You can. You don't have to pretend or perform or become someone you're not. This person is you, and perhaps, you're beginning to remember the times you've already been them. This is how you bring them to the surface. I read Psycho-Cybernetics and it changed my life. I don't know what Psycho-Cybernetics is, because I discovered recently that there was a very spiritual movement called cybernetics, and I used to study cybernetics, but in a very scientific fashion. So there's two kind of cybernetics movements in the world, and I have the video, but I'm not aware of the spiritual movement yet. I have to study it, and then I can share with you my thoughts, maybe, if something interesting comes out, of course. Let's continue. We hear this often, but if you ever ask these people how did it change your life, they say the same thing: self-image. Okay, so how do you change your self-image? Take action. Change how you look. Believe in yourself. If we actually look at Malt's Psycho-Cybernetics, his whole idea is about plastic surgery clients still feeling ugly because who they believed they were didn't match reality. He had patients walk out with perfect noses, fixed scars, symmetrical faces, and still saw their insecurities in the mirror. The fix is to change who you believe yourself to be. Let's see this image. Success from the inside out, not the outside in. One of the reasons it seems so difficult for a person to change habits, personality, or a way of life has been that nearly all efforts at change have been directed to the circumference of the self, so to speak, rather than to the center. Sorry, that was hard to read. Numerous patients have said to me something like the following: if you're talking about positive thinking, I've tried that before and it just doesn't work for me. However, a little questioning. No, sorry, I'm gonna read the article because this is I don't know what it is, but it's just a screen of self-image. Your key to living without limits. Let's continue the article. You know what a weak self-image feels like when you're living it. A constant anticipation of doing life wrong and afraid others will eventually discover this about you. Shows in the way you rehearse conversations before they happen, replaying them after, feeling out of place when someone more successful or attractive or more admired by others walks into the room. Start things and stop, set goals and abandon them. Watching yourself repeat the same patterns and not understanding why. A voice that whispers, "Who do you think you are?" every time you dare to want something bigger. A ceiling you hit but can't see. You think it's luck or genetics. It's not. It's the image you hold of yourself. That's what Maltz discovered. That's what we are going to fix. Psycho-cybernetics is what hypnotists do. Become aware of something most people never question. Every human is already hypnotized. By ideas they accepted without question, by stories they repeated until they became true, by beliefs that were never theirs to begin with. You're hypnotized by your parents, your teachers, your failures, the story you've whispered to yourself for years. Layer upon layer of programming you didn't choose. These ideas run your life with the same power as suggestions implanted by a professional hypnotist. You just never noticed because no one called it what it is. Maltz called hypnosis the relaxed acceptance of ideas. Accepted ideas equal what we're willing to do. When we re-hypnotize you with beliefs you actually choose, you'll notice how different your days feel. Maltz called it psycho-cybernetics because hypnosis scared people in the 60s. And still, but makes no mistake, this is hypnosis, or conversational hypnosis, hypnosis without a formal trance state procedure, I would say. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works. Ooh, hand levitation. That's a cool one. Looking at the hands, used by courtesy of the Henneberry Company. Maltz described your brain like this. Your brain operates like a heat-seeking missile. It locks onto a target and steers toward it automatically, course-correcting along the way, adjusts based on feedback, moves relentlessly toward whatever image dominates the mind. Where your focus of attention is placed, I would say. Most people never consciously set the target. They run on autopilot. Move toward goals programmed by childhood, by trauma, by society, by fear. Scripts they inherit before they were old enough to question them. Your subconscious doesn't care if the goal is success or failure. It just moves. I'm not sure about that, but let's continue. I'm not here to debate with an article. Toward whatever picture is clearest, which means if you don't define who you want to become with extreme clarity, your brain defaults to who you've always been. When you visualize with enough detail and emotion, you build new pathways. Your brain treats the imagined self as the real one. Like your body treats your imagination as a real situation. It reacts almost the same, 80%. This is fairly simple, but it's a process of training in a specific order. Most will never apply this, most will bookmark for later. Like me, most will never reach their potential. If you manage to apply everything I say consistently in order, you are guaranteed to create permanent change to who you are. That's basically my work. Convince my client to do what I say is better for him for a week or two, and then it's done. Walk an hour a day, and you're gonna produce a wonderful variety of neurotransmitter that will increase your well-being. So after 2 weeks of that, you become kind of addicted to that. Small changes, consistent in time, is more effective and durable in time that great changes that last a week, a month, or 3 months, like diet. Over 6 articles, I will break down the exact formula. Okay, this is the volume 1. Or it continues? Oh, continues. Okay, we have 6 volumes. I have 1 and 2 ready to read. Each builds on the last. Skip a step and the whole thing falls apart. Before you visualize anything, I want you to become aware of who you want to be. This is where the most people fail before they even start. They want to be more confident, but can't describe that what looks like. Exactly. The same thing in my sessions of psychotherapy. Please tell me your problem, or why can I help you? And it always starts with abstract definition and concepts and diagnosis from the internet, but never with an example, a real one. I differentiate a lysological concept with a morphological concept. A morphological concept is an example in real life that happened to you that describes very accurately the problem you want to solve. And then we have a lysological. Lyso is like plain or with not form. No, the opposite of morphological. Lysological is these are concepts that are so general that cannot be useful in this kind of work, an individual life. They want to be successful, but have no sensory detail of what that means. Yes, we can help a person to reduce pain or suffering, but if in the first place we don't have a baseline of kind of quantitative number, even a subjective number of your pain, for example, before start, the person is not gonna be able to feel the change because it's not clear to begin with. I hope that makes sense. Let's continue. How's the music? Too strong? Too ugly? Let's change music. Too heavy for this. Let's go with this one. Yeah. Okay. Vague targets produce vague results. Your brain needs a clear mental picture. Maltz, a quote from Maltz. You must have a clear mental picture of the correct thing before you can do it successfully. The exercise. Let's see if I recommend it or not. I do this with all my clients. The goal is simple. Define the future you with enough specificity. The future you? I don't know what this you has to do there. I don't get it. Define the future you with enough specificity that your brain can lock onto it like a target. I think it's an error. I'm not sure. First, the anti-vision. Before you define who you want to become, get clear on who you refuse to be. Yes, it's better to know. It's easy and better to know what you don't want in life than what you want in life, because life is unpredictable, with infinite possibilities. So you would lose a lot if you pick the positive one. Write it down. Picture this clearly. Life. If you could step into a version of yourself 5 years from now where nothing has changed, what's the first thing you notice about how they're living? Imagine watching the future self move through an ordinary Tuesday. What do you see them doing and what's missing? What would that version of you say they settle for? Sorry, what would that version of you say they settle for? Beliefs. What limiting belief has the future self accepted as permanent truth? If their inner voice could speak, what excuse does it repeat most often? Very hard to imagine this, I have to admit. What possibility have they stopped allowing themselves to image? Mirror. When they catch their reflection, what do their eyes reveal that their words never would? No, I don't like this because the way it's redacted, I'm not sure who's talking about, so I don't like this part. Then let's see in the volume 2 what we have on an exercise, because this is too hard to follow. Beliefs. If your future self had one unshakable belief. Okay, let me share my way of doing this in a very simple way, very much a simple way, with one concept, with one instruction, only one instruction, not a lot of one like this. Oh, the article continues. Okay, let me share my way, one way of working that's called the magic question, okay? Or something like that. You come to a session because you have a problem, and I will ask you the following question, very simple one, that is the following. If your problem disappeared tomorrow, how would your life look like in a day? Describe your day without your problem. Like you have magic and you make it disappear at night, and you wake up in a new day when your problem is not there. How does it look like? That's my simple version. It's not mine, of course. No? It's from Giorgio Nardone, I believe, or Paul Vasiljevic, one of them. Your subconscious needs you to feed it clearly and then get out of the way. Yes, even with movement rehabilitation after a stroke, if I help a patient to imagine himself walking like he could do it before the accident, and he imagined himself walking or marching or running, whatever, no, or riding a bike while he's hemiplegic now, but imagine he's not, the part of the body that is paralyzed is gonna start to irrigate more blood to the paralyzed part, of course, than if you don't imagine yourself walking. If you start to imagine yourself walking, parts of your paralyzed body is gonna start to irrigate more blood than before imagining it. Let's see, and I'm gonna leave the part 2 for next one, volume 2 for a next emission. And let's go to another article I have. This one I think is interesting. About Instagram. Smoothie. She drinks water. At She Drinks Water or Smoothie, share with us this article. Instagram is training you to leave people who love you. How does the lack of cognitive security affect relationships? Cognitive security, the less metacognition abilities we have, the more insecure our cognition is, of course. And metacognition is the ability to reflect or overview our common thoughts or cognitive processes. Right now, love is something that is mediated by a third presence, i.e., your social media feed. The relationship discourse people talk about is pure governance. The algorithm calibrates and observes affective fluctuations like longing and feeds back content that stabilize you in that state until it hardens into identity. Wow, you are entrained into the conclusions. Let me read this again, please. From your social media feed. The relationship discourse people talk about is pure governance. Okay, from here. The algorithm calibrates and observes affective fluctuations like longing and feeds back content that stabilize you in that state until, okay, if you're feeling longing, or if you, longing, if you're feeling longing and the algorithm feeds back you content that stabilizes you in that state until it hardens to identity, you are entrained into the conclusions. This is why cognitive security is a condition under which judgment, attachment, and reverence can exist together. A mind subjected to constant short-form penetration loses attention and coherence and becomes porous. Okay, porous. A porous mind cannot sustain love. Wow, because love demands the capacity to hold ambiguity without converting it into accusation, to endure friction without outsourcing interpretation to strangers. Oh, the feed dissolves that capacity and it trains you to experience discomfort as evidence that it is not working, and patience as self-betrayal. That's why a lot of people like to react instantly to something in the internet. The mechanism is banal and devastating. Stress weakens the prefrontal restraint that mediates impulse. Yes, the electrical activity of our prefrontal cortex is the one that regulates the impulses, the emotional impulses that come from the center of the brain, like a storm. This subject reaches for reels out of anesthesia, and anesthesia is precisely the state in which beliefs can be implanted without resistance. Repetition completes the work, while familiarity starts to replace truth. The second exposure does most of the damage. After that, the narrative no longer feels imposed, and it starts to feel self-generated. That's hypnotic persuasion. You stop saying, "This is what I saw," and begin saying, "This is how I see." Wow. This is why the algorithm becomes lethal to intimacy. When a relationship enters turbulence, the feed does not show you how to repair the relationship with loved ones. You won't be seeing it on trending. Rather, it shows you how you need to break up. A single post on content about toxic men, bare minimum, emotional labor, overgiving, choosing yourself, etc. is enough to initiate escalation. True. The system infers vulnerability and clusters content accordingly. Your partner is reclassified from person to problem. Wow! It is within this environment that one word becomes the most revealing artifact of conditioning. The word is insecurity. Insecurity is a silencing device. Once applied, no further perception is permitted. A man articulates discomfort, and the discussion instantly shifts away from what he sees to what is allegedly wrong with him. Having structural awareness and judgment is psychologicized as a defect. Having structural awareness and judgment is psychologicized as a defect. Let's consider what is actually happening. A man notices the attention economy. He understands that posts that reveal skin are offering into a marketplace engineered for extraction, like views, DMs, saves, and silent consumption. He understands algorithmic distribution, audience targeting, men, and the way desire is found through visibility. When he expresses discomfort, he's reasoning structurally and he's naming exposure. His awareness is reframed as insecurity and caution looks like fear. His boundary becomes control. The language is precise and humiliating, fragile, weak, threatened, small. These are status reductions. They remove him from the category of moral agent and look at him as a malfunction. Watch how this manifests repeatedly. When a man says he's uncomfortable with sexually suggestive posts because he knows how images circulate, how they are archived, redistributed, and privately consumed, or when he expresses concern about flirtatious DMs kept alive politely. Recognizing that repeated validation creates emotional leakage, or when questions why intimacy is claimed as sacred while constant exhibition is defended as empowerment. He's told he's intimidated by confidence, or when he notices a widening gap between his partner's offline values and her online persona, and asks which one governs the relationship, or when he points out that exclusivity loses meaning when the attention is continuously externalized, of course. He's told he's jealous, controlling, insecure, oppressive, and exclusivity equals ownership. Each time you punish his perception, you tell him that his ability to see is a liability. Now observe the inverse conditioning. When a woman monitors her partner's social media activity, scrutinizing likes, following, looking for partners, or when she expresses discomfort with her partner's female friendships, or when she feels threatened by her partner following models or influencers, or when she uses withdrawal, silence, or provocation to test loyalty, or when she exits a relationship after consuming endless content, insisting if he wanted to, he would. This vigilance is dignified as intuition, boundary setting, self-respect, having standards. Departure is celebrated as growth. This asymmetry is the product of repetition over time. Men are conditioned to associate boundaries with shame, while women are conditioned to associate exit with virtue. One side learns that silence is important for survival. The other learns that breaking up is empowerment. The result is relational collapse, aka breakup. Or worse, still being together, but everybody's lying to each other. Stable love depends on reciprocal discipline and the mutual agreement that both parties will restrain impulse, tolerate friction, and protect the bond from external erosion. Yeah, but algorithm, it doesn't feel like external erosion, right? Because it has no face. When one side's perception is systematically invalidated, discipline disintegrates. Discipline disintegrates. Appeasement replaces discernment on one side, while moral inflation replaces patience on the other. The man learns that speaking costs him dignity. He becomes performatively permissive, agreeable, and resentful. His trust erodes because he's not allowed to see without punishment. The woman learns that dissatisfaction and discomfort signal misalignment. She becomes hyper-attuned to flaws, primed to interpret ordinary imperfection as evidence that she is settling. She's not trained to deepen bonds, just break up clean. The algorithm rewards this divergence relentlessly. Content that dignifies grievance or reframes departure as self-love circulates, and the one that teaches endurance, raw mutual containment disappears. Love that survives friction is unmarketable. So, relationships become provisional arrangements continuously audited under an invisible audience. Wow. The bond is no longer a shared interior space, but rather a public performance measured against viral scripts. The catastrophe is that discernment itself is being trained out of existence. When perception is punished, blindness becomes adaptive. Blindness becomes adaptive, and boundaries are moralized into defects. Dissolution becomes inevitable. And that's how you start falling into the trap. You think you are becoming aware, while in reality, you're just being programmed to think that revere another person beyond transient affect. The feed exploits moments of fatigue and fracture, like late nights, post-conflict spirals, the quiet loneliness before sleep, and uses them as entry point. Once those narratives settle, they feel like you. And that's how you start falling into the trap. You think you are becoming aware, while in reality you're just being programmed to think that. Wow, I like it. Let's share it. And maybe if we have a short one, yeah, this is a short one and a very good one. Talk about programming and relationships in the internet. We have, oh, what is this? Okay, we have clavicular, the famous clavicular, and we have this phrase that I found it amazing. Clavicular was mid-gesture-gooning when a group of foids came and spiked his cortisol levels. Is ignoring the foids while munting and mugging moids more useful than SMB chat fishing in the club? Okay, what that means? No, of course. We have an explanation of what that means. Here's a breakdown of what this sentence means for those not in the know. Let's illustrate ourselves in this new language. Jargon. From clavicular. I think he's inventing it, or he and his friends, or maybe it's his generation. I'm not sure at this point, but I'm gonna find out. Sentence 1, analysis. Clavicular was mid-gesture gooning when a group of foids came and spiked his cortisol levels. Clavicular, nickname for streamer Braden Peters, is a reference to clavicle lengthening or widening, a niche obsession in body dysmorphia communities regarding shoulder width. Gesture gooning, a portmanteau of two terms, Jester maxing, acting like a clown or fool to get attention or cope with social rejection. Gooning originally referred to a trance-like state induced by adult movies addiction, but in this context, it generally means starting blankly or engaging in obsessive, low IQ behavior. Okay. Foids, a derogatory involuntary celibate term for women, short for femoids, female humanoids. What? So they are referring to some woman like they were robots? Humanoid robots? Wow. Spiked his cortisol levels. Cortisol is the stress hormone. This means the woman made him extremely stressed, anxious, or panicked. Yes, spiking his cortisol levels. I'm gonna start to use that one. Translation: this guy, Clavicular, was in the middle of acting like an idiot, zoning out when a group of women arrived and made him panic. Sentence 2 analysis: is ignoring the voice while mounting and mugging moids more useful than SMB chatfishing in the club? Is ignoring the voice while mounting and mugging moids more useful than SMB chatfishing in the club? If someone get it, I applaud you. Mounting, while originally a grotesque term from shock sites in looksmaxing slang, it is something used often ironically to describe an extreme or ugly form of mewing thumb posture exercise to improve jawline. What? So mounting is a kind of exercise. It implies focusing intensely on one's face aesthetics. Mugging derives from amok, alpha male of the group. It means physically dominating someone else or looking much better than them. Mugging. Okay. Moids, a derogatory term for men, male humanoids, often used as a counterpart of void. So like NPCs, they treat other persons like NPCs. SMV, acronym for sexual market value. Oh, a pseudo-sociological metric used in this community to rank how valuable a person is to the opposite sex. What? Sexual market value, SMV. Okay. How's your SMV? Chatfishing, I wanted to know that. Chatfishing, a combination of chat, the archetypical attractive male, and catfishing. It means creating a fake dating profile using photos of a male model to see how women react or to waste their time. Okay, catfishing is... I didn't know what catfishing means. Translation: is it better to ignore women and focus on making other men looking inferior through looks or status? Or is it better to go to a club and try to trick people into thinking you have high sexual value? Oh, that's the translation. Wow. And they talk very fast on top of that, on top of this vocabulary. Summary: this text asks a philosophical question within this specific internet subculture. Is self-improvement and dominance over other men, homosocial competition, more fulfilling than seeking validation from women through deception? Oh, okay, that's an important question. Is he still in jail? Last night was in jail, I think, because I don't know why. I don't even remember. Okay, people, thank you very much for being here. I hope you find it a little bit informative or entertaining. Let's see in your comments, your critiques. Okay, I have to go to work like every day. So, have a nice Monday, have a wonderful week. See you the next one. I don't know why. Oh, sorry, I don't know when, but soon. Maybe we're gonna read this one about Tesla. Nikola Tesla, on how he used visualization to create his inventions from torment to success. We are reading around visualization, hypnosis, brief psychotherapy. So I think it's gonna be wonderful. It is legible? Is it legible? Yes, perfectly. Okay, thank you very much again. And this time, for real, I'm gonna say goodbye. Goodbye. See you the next one.
Come on and cry me a river, cry me a river. I cried a river